Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today we are looking at the container ship. Now, the container ship does come to us from the Pirates and Privateers, and that's what I'm reading from here today. So, this is another prize ship. The container ship is listed as being a huge, slow, with gargantuan cargo holds. A super container may be the ultimate dream prize. Super containers represent an extreme case of economic or of economy of scale. Such a ship can transport a ton of cargo for a fraction of what a light freighter can. These ships generally transport hundreds of millions of credits of worth of cargo, enough to gain the attention of the Imperial Navy, which often bothers to assign such ships battle ready, capable, or capital ship escorts. So, when you look at the picture here, some of the things that does come to note is this is also a ship that, in some cases, you could take non hyperdrive capable ships and actually dock them inside and then transport them to wherever they need to go. Or you can use it as an actual, like today's ocean liner or whatever that carries containers itself. So you could use it in that regard as well. Um, so, like it says, this is a huge ship and it has a huge amount of wealth potential out of it. Um, so, looking at what we have brought to us from Pirates and Privateers, um, this is a large container ship. It is at its capital scale, being 840 meters long. Its skills would be for space transports. Has a crew of 100. It can be run by a crew of 50, but you're going to incur a plus 10 difficulty on any of your checks. So the cargo capacity being at a whopping 25 million metric tons. Consumables is up to 500 days. Cost is 35 million brand new, 17 million used, has a times 3 hyperdrive with a times 20 backup hyperdrive. It does have a nav computer. This thing just lumbers through space. It has a space of 2. So when it's not in going through hyperspace, it's just a very slow vessel, which does make a lot of sense because then you don't have these huge engines to try and propel the ship. You can save more room for actually having cargo, which is wonderful. And then it has a hull of 3D plus 2. But one of the things to note, there are no shields on this. As noted in our write up that I read, this is a ship that you will have other ships making sure it is properly um, defended to make sure pirates don't attack this thing. It has a huge, I mean, a ship like this could easily um, be an entire planet's gross national wealth or whatever for a year. That's a whole an entire planet's yearly income could be stored on this ship. So think of it in those regards. So our sensor packet that it does have, passively we can scan out to 3 kilometers at a 1D. We can actively scan to 4 kilometers at 2D. We can do a search out to 5 kilometers at a 2D plus 2, and a focus out to 400 meters at a 3D. Um, so I think it's kind of an average computer, sensor computer or whatever, to be able to do all this. I don't think it's too bare bones, and I don't think it's really like a science vessel type ship or whatever that we would think of like in Star Trek or something like that. This is just a run of the mill ship, very basic as far as it goes, or very average, not really basic, but very average for a lot of the ships that we see. Um, but the whole big thing is when we really look at Star Wars compared to like a Star Trek, is Star Wars is looking at a big galaxy. We don't really get into a lot of exploratory ships, and when we do, they'll get us just the basics of what a planet is, and then we will send down something and just actively be on the ground and check out a planet. Where in Star Trek, we're scanning everything on the planet. We can tell you how many people are on that planet just from being out in space. Now, I'm going to say that when things had changed throughout the years between George and Gene, as they were always feeding off of each other, things changed, and I think that that was being added in there a little bit more. But let's keep things, just down to the basics. This was done for West End Games way back when, before the trilogy had, or the prequel trilogy had come out. Say it correctly here. Um, so we didn't think of it in those regards. There are thoughts that came out later, that were not really brought up while this was created. Um, so we have the ship here today. It's an interesting ship. The fact that, yes, you could, as we see, this is a CR90, you could park this sucker in there and then have it transported somewhere else. So it is an interesting concept in that regard. Wonderful ship. Brings a lot more vessels that could be created in one part of the galaxy out to another part of the galaxy that don't have that hyperdrive capability. The scary thought is, if the Empire had a few of these ships and they're just loaded with all the military supplies that they need to take over an entire star system, they could just easily bring this in. I know the Star Destroyers actually have prefabricated uh, structures and all that for landing on planets, but could you imagine a ship like this just filled with all that extra stuff? It would be very, very devastating for any other government that thinks that they could control themselves. So another interesting ship. Glad to bring it to you every day. Hope you enjoy the series. I enjoy bringing it to you. We'll see you in the next video.